HSP does everything we can to make sure our members always have top quality, safe, reliable private land to visit whenever they want. Why pay to hunt on private land? Well, because over half of our population now lives in cities, and that includes the landowners, so it's going to keep getting harder and harder to track them down and get permission. With us, you spend your time tracking down your game, not the landowners.
A very common question that we get is, if I'm a new member living, let's say, somewhere in the East Coast, would I be at a disadvantage compared to someone who may be a local member closer to our farms? And the answer is definitely not. Any member has access to our harvest reports, which says everything that's been seen in numbers, quantity, and what's been harvested off the properties. Also, every member has access to the high-definition color aerial photos of every single property that's surrounded by the GPS coordinates. So it's a completely level playing field. If you're busy and you don't have time to go through all of our harvest reports and maps, you're really missing one of the backbones of our club. By going through these harvest reports, it's basically like going on a guided hunt without a guide. We're telling you which areas have game and what game's on them. We've gone through a lot of time and effort to gather information and put them in these databases for you just for this purpose. And you're going to save time and money, whether it's traveling, scouting, and gas money. So you should put in the time and utilize the tools that we provide for you.
What stops local members from having an advantage is that our reservations are made on a first-come, first-served basis. Everyone has an equal opportunity, and there's no preferred members. If you're worried about landowners wanting to hunt their own land, that's not a problem with the club, because if they choose to do that, and very few do, they have to follow our rules, including the first-come, first-served reservation system.
In HSP, you can reserve a farm as many days as you want to, as long as you're going to be out there every single day of that reservation. If you're not going to be out there, you need to call in and free it up. We get questions in regards to member turnover, as in turnover questions related to any business. Our average length of time that a member stays with us is 7 years, but we have many members that have been with us since 1990.
We certainly understand things change, and if you own one of our regular memberships, you can pay an inactivation fee if for some reason, for example, you're not going to be able to hunt next year and you know it. Or for a couple of years, you can pay an inactivation fee. That way you don't have to pay annual dues that you can't use. And since ours are equity memberships, if you stop hunting altogether, God forbid, you can sell or transfer your membership to someone else, or hand it down to your family or your kids just by transferring the paperwork. Well, a lot of our members like to get out there with their families, and there's no additional cost with us because we're all about family. As long as you claim them as dependents on your taxes, they're included in your family membership, unless you hunt what we call fee land.
You might have heard us talking about fee land. Fee land is typically farms that we have just recently leased. It's no better nor worse than any of the other farms that we have in the club. The only difference is that we pay this landowner on a per person per day basis so that we can evaluate his property throughout one season or for a year. If you want to take a dependent on fee land, there is nominal fees that are associated with it. But as a member, if you wanted to hunt on fee land, there's no extra charge.
Lots of our members like to hunt with their buddies. Even on opening day, you can bring them as guests in this club. But it's subject to certain limitations. We charge a nominal daily fee, and any individual you care to bring is limited to a maximum of 3 days in a 12-month period. If there's someone you hunt with a lot, there's a couple of things you could do. They could join, have unlimited privileges, or you could add a floating guest membership to your membership, and then they can come with you as a guest for any number of days without limitation and no guest fees because they're prepaid. But only one person can come at a time. The nice thing is that the floating guest is not tied to that certain person. Next time you go out, you could take another person, and they wouldn't be limited to 3 days. HSP offers a tremendous amount of flexibility in our memberships.
Some of the questions our member prospects ask us is, can I get a guide, or dogs, or tags, permits, or lodging through the club? We're evaluating all of these issues. As far as the guides go, Professional guides are not allowed to use our properties for their business, but that goes back to the buddy list. If you're looking for someone who knows the ground better, you're more than welcome to contact a member, and they'll be happy to help you out. As far as tags, we can help you out with that as well. We're familiar with all the states and their laws and draw dates and things of that nature. Some of our farms have lodging that's available, whether it be a farmhouse or an old barn. We'll let you know that in advance, and you'll know which farms have that option. The vast majority of HSP properties you can camp on, though.
You might have just moved here, don't know anybody. We have a buddy list service in our newsletters where guys can put the word out that they want to partner up with somebody. And that can almost be like a mentoring program. In fact, for me it was. When I first joined the club and started working with it, I got with some of the members and went out hunting. They know the land. They can teach you, the ins and outs. How would you know you'd actually want to hunt with this person? Well, we've got a lot of different kinds of membership. We got people from all walks of life, but we don't have people who don't respect the law, convicted felons, people who don't respect the land, landowners, our rules. You know that going in. You know that we're real careful about our membership, and you can look at a guy's record on harvest reports, the information, and you can talk to him, decide for yourself.
Some of the concerns that we hear are, what if I get to a farm and it doesn't have the game that I'm looking for, or the fields have been plowed under, or the crops are still in? Well, as far as the game being there, you're going to know exactly what to expect when you get out there because of the previous year's harvest reports. You're going to know exactly what types of game and in what numbers. As far as the plowed farm ground or crops being still in, we have up-to-date harvest reports where members make notes in the opinion section. So if somebody's been out there and found that the field's been plowed under, you're going to know it. If you do get out to a farm like this, we do have a 24-hour-a-day, 7 days a week hotline that we can get you put onto another farm right on the spot.